They say that the elven forest breathes, a living sanctuary where every leaf knows the whispers of time, and every root drinks from the memories of the ancient world. Few dare to enter it, and those who do rarely emerge unchanged. For within its emerald depths lies a forgotten realm, shrouded in mystery, protected by secrets older than the stars. It was to this forbidden place that Cailan found himself drawn. Cailan was no ordinary traveller. He was a seeker, an orphan raised by the Order of Erenfall, a group of scholars dedicated to uncovering the truths of the old world. For as long as he could remember, he had heard stories of the elven forest, of its beauty, its danger, and the strange, eternal folk who once called it home. But what truly consumed him was the legend of the Heart of Silara, a mythical artifact said to rest in the forest's heart. It was said to hold the power to shape reality itself, to mend the fractures of the world or tear them wider. Cailan's journey had begun with a scrap of parchment, the map half-burned, words written in a forgotten tongue. And so, on a fateful morning bathed in golden light, he'd left behind the safety of walls and entered the shadowed domain of legends. The forest enfolded him like a dream. The canopy above was so dense that sunlight filtered through in fractured beams, painting the ground in shifting patterns of gold and green. The air shimmered with life, songs of unseen birds blending with the faint hum of magic that seemed to pulse from the very soil. Every step Cailan took felt both wondrous and precarious, like walking on the edge of a blade. Hours turned to days, though time felt strange here. Without the sun to guide him, he relied on the map and his instincts. But the deeper he ventured, the more he felt the forest watching him. It was on the third evening, as he made camp near a stream, that he saw them, eyes glinting like gold coins in the shadows. He froze, hand resting on the hilt of his dagger. But the eyes didn't move. And then, just as suddenly as they appeared, they vanished into the dark. The map was leading him toward a place marked with an ancient glyph, a spiraling circle surrounded by elven runes. As he crested a hill, he saw it at last, a ruin half swallowed by the forest. Towering columns of white stone jutted upward, their surfaces wrapped in vines like skeletal hands grasping the heavens. But he wasn't alone. Standing at the ruin's edge was a figure draped in flowing cloaks of moss green. Their face was obscured by a porcelain mask, smooth and expressionless, except for two slits for eyes. They held a staff crowned with a twisting silver branch that glowed faintly in the dim light. "Turn back, trespasser," the figure said, their voice like wind through reeds. "You do not belong here." Cailan hesitated. "I mean no harm," he said, stepping carefully closer. "I seek the Heart of Silara." At his words, the figure's grip on their staff tightened. The air grew heavier, and the forest around them seemed to rustle with unease. But Cailan would not be deterred. "Please," he said, his voice firm, "if the heart can heal, then the world needs it. Show me the way." For a long moment the figure did not move. Then, without a word, they raised their staff. The ground beneath Cailan cracked, roots bursting forth to ensnare him. He struggled, but the roots were strong as iron. "You have been warned," the figure said, their voice now tinged with sorrow. "Farewell, seeker." As darkness overtook him, Cailan felt the faintest brush of soft hands on his brow, and a voice, gentle and piercing, whispered in his ear. She spoke of the ancient times, when elves and mortals lived side by side, and of the great sundering that drove them apart. She spoke of the Heart of Silara, a fragment of the Elder Tree itself, capable of immense creation and destruction. "It is both a boon and a curse," Lyrian said as they reached the Pillar of Memories. a towering monolith inscribed with runes that glowed faintly. To wield it requires not just strength, but clarity of purpose. Many have sought it, but all have been consumed by their own desires. Kalen approached the pillar, his hand brushing its surface. The runes flared, and visions flooded his mind. Visions of a world ablaze, of faces stricken with grief, and of a single glowing heart turning dark. "Because you must understand," Lyrian said, "the heart does not heal, it reshapes, and it is unforgiving to those who would wield it selfishly."
"Why
The
show me
journey to
this?"
the heart's
he
resting
asked,
place was
his voice
perilous.
shaking.
Lyrian led him through trials of fire and shadow, facing illusions that preyed on their fears. At last, they reached a cavern bathed in emerald light. At its center stood the heart, an orb of shifting light and color, its beauty almost painful to look at. Kalen stepped forward, but Lyrian stopped him. "Know this. Once you touch the heart, there is no turning back. You will either save this world or doom it." With a deep breath, Kalen reached out. The moment his fingers brushed the heart, the world dissolved into light. He was everywhere and nowhere, standing on the edge of eternity, his mind filled with the cries of countless voices. And then, silence. When Kalen opened his eyes, he was back in the cavern. The heart hovered before him, quiet and still. Lyrian studied him carefully. "Well?" she asked. "What did you see?" Kalen's voice was barely a whisper. "Enough!" What he did with the heart, whether he used it, sealed it away, or left it behind, remained a secret. But the forest bore witness, and its whispers carried his name. For legends are not merely stories. They are choices written into the fabric of the world. And Kalen's choice would echo for generations to come, carried on the breath of the timeless trees. The elven forest remained, as it always had, a sanctuary of secrets, and somewhere deep within its heart, the ancient power still waits, silent, watchful, and eternal.